Hi, so would you buy the new Kia e-Soul? This is the 64 kilowatt hour battery version 1 that's just sort of coming out soon now in Europe. Would you buy it if you realized that where you were, Denmark in my case, it costs more than a Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus? I've moved from the UK to Denmark. I've sold my previous electric car that I loved, the Hyundai Ioniq Electric. I'm still looking into other transport options, but I'm keeping my eyes open for different electric cars. There's been a reasonable amount of interest about the new Kia e-Soul recently, and I've noticed you can get it in zero tailpipe colors. But then I started looking into it and I found the price information. So let's talk about that in this video. Electrical efficiency. Zero tailpipe. So the Kia e-Soul, the 64 kilowatt hour one, looks like a really good car. They've kind of made it a bit bigger, they've improved fit and finish, they've done some nice kind of funky, colourful things to the interior, at least in some of the trim options. And generally it seems like an okay kind of car. It's got all the latest tech and gadgets. It's got, head-up display, upgraded lane keeping assist, lane following assist, the big wide sat-nav that other cars don't have in the Kia Hyundai family yet. In exterior it looks better than the old Soul as well. You might have your own impressions of it, but I think we can agree it looks better than the old Soul, certainly at the back, and the front is a bit more interesting. And it is, as I say, available in kind of zero tailpipe colors, red, white, black, like my logo, and I like the look of it. I particularly like the red kind of colored inserts in the car. Gives it a bit more life and a bit of flair, which I missed when I had our Ioniq Electric, because the inside, apart from the rather discreet kind of copper piping to indicate the electric model, the copper piping around various bits and pieces was very black and grey. I still like the car, but a little bit of colour doesn't hurt. Then I saw the price, and I'll show the Model 3 configuration price in Denmark in a minute now. So this is Danish prices, just to be clear. I'll put the prices here in kind of euros and dollars and pounds as I'm talking about these things. But then, looking at the price list here, so you can see over here, I believe they will actually offer for sale the 39.2 kilowatt hour battery variant of it, although I think in some regions not. They'll just go for this one here, the 64 kilowatt hour one. So other than that kind of battery designation and the power, they don't have different names, the different battery sizes. It's only the Vision model here that I'm circling around available with the smaller battery, and then if you get the Comfort or the advanced ones, then you've got the 64 kilowatt hour battery. If I fancied that two-tone colour options, that's here, an additional 12,000 crowns, unlimited network. I presume that's some kind of, connectivity around getting the latest charger information, updated weather, updated traffic conditions, maybe also to do with an app, because I think there's now an app for the Kia e-Soul, which there wasn't ever an app for in the UK, at least for my Ioniq Electric, to preheat it or see the state of charge or do other features to the car remotely that other apps can do, even the Nissan apps. I think some of the Renault apps can do it for the Zoe and so on. And certainly Tesla has a very full feature set around that, around mobile apps in the car. And we start adding in these options that we might like. So the two-tone paint, this is the one here. The clear white and the Inferno red would be the kind of zero tailpipe colors. Bit of a vanity thing, but if I was to get the car, I would go for that paint configuration because it basically matches the channel. Then if I wanted the ambient lights, and I've seen those in Bjorn Nieland's videos, they're quite funky, this kind of ambient light. I'm not going to try and translate it, but these are the seats. So these are the seats with different configurations of, ventilated and heated. But this one here, considering I've got children and often have passengers in the back, the 30,000 crowns would be the one. It's heated and cooled seats in the front and heated seats in the back. Then this BCA thing is about, the blind spot alert and the rear cross traffic alerts. That's another 10,000 crowns. The SUV pack, I think, is just some kind of, it's these kind of things, the side skirts and something different, like this protective thing. Well, piece of plastic. A piece of plastic on the side and a piece of plastic on the front. Let's not say anything more than that without testing the properties of it. Head-up display, yeah, that would be cool. 5,000 crowns on top. And then Soul Tag, I think, is sunroof. So you can get a sunroof only on the advanced one, and it's 10,000 crowns again. I wouldn't necessarily like one unless it was one of those panoramic roofs, which could be nice. With the aid of a trusty pen, let's add these prices up. And I realise I'm going to start with the advanced model, but it's only 15,000 crowns more than the Comfort, and it has a few things that I would want to spec it with anyway. Let's call it 340,000 for the advanced model. Then we want to add two-tone paint. I guess you wouldn't have to do that, but I would want to do that. 12,000, so we got 352,000. Then I would want to add the ambient light, because it's just fun, and that's 355,000 with that. Then I would want heated and cooled seats and heated seats in the back. I was used to that in the Ioniq Electric. It was standard spec, actually, in the UK Ioniq Electric Premium SC that I had. So now we're at 385,000 after adding on that 30,000. Then I would want, again, the blind spot and the rear cross traffic alert. So that's another 10,000 added on, and that takes us to about 395,000. Then I'd want the head-up display. That adds another 5,000. I'm skipping the SUV pack, as I said, so that's then at 400,000. Then I wouldn't need the roof rails thing at 3,000, so we can skip that, and I wouldn't want a sunroof necessarily at 10,000. Now, even if you didn't want to spec it with my kind of fancy paint, you'd be at 388,000 crowns, yeah, for a Kia e-Soul without the special paint. If you want the special paint like me, it'd be 400,000 crowns. You could maybe live without the heated and ventilated seats, but if you want the kind of leather seats, it's 15,000 anyway, so you're only adding another 15,000 for the, ventilated and heated. And if you want just sort of, a slightly lower version of that, you're still at 25,000 for kit that was just standard spec on my UK Hyundai Ioniq Electric. Crazy. Okay, so now let's jump over to Tesla's Danish website. So yeah, first you'll note that the Standard Range Plus, so this is with things you could possibly take out if you manage to haggle with Tesla. I'm going to go and talk to them about that to see what you can actually take out and still get a car reasonably, say, this year. Yeah, so this is for, the white is now the standard Tesla Model 3 colour. I think it's the pearl multi-coat white that used to be there. It's not a plain white, it's a nice white. Having owned a white car for a year and a half, not so keen on that, but I'm not bothered about colours. So yeah, not really much to add to this one, so we'll go next. So yeah, it's this pearl white is the colour here, the standard aero wheels, 18-inch. You could add kind of winter tyres, I think. That might be a tow hook. And then, yeah, the interior, you could keep it black. Delivery in August. Bear in mind we're at late July making this. Autopilot comes included, but you could add more stuff, but no need, and I would want to strip that out and try and get a cheaper car if I could. Then there's a kind of delivery fee. Let's have a look if we can kind of break it down here on the right. Yeah, so the total price with the, assuming this is the kind of, no, here's the documentation fee here, around 4,000 crowns. So you're looking at 374,000, yeah? 374,000 crowns, which is still quite a lot of money in other currencies. I'll put those on the bottom of the screen now. You could theoretically get the Kia e-Soul for 340,000, but for my preferences, that's fairly bare bones, and it doesn't have the heated seats that you have in the Tesla Model 3. You could get those with the kind of 25,000 addition, so you could, at 365,000, you could be sort of matching the Tesla Model 3 spec with the Kia e-Soul. But then you still want to add things around the safety, the 10,000 for the blind spot alert and the rear cross traffic alert, because the Tesla Model 3 would have that as part of the autopilot system, because you're paying for the kind of basic autopilot, standard autopilot, with that Standard Range Plus Model 3 that we're comparing the pricing on. So we'd be looking at 375,000 there for a kind of, let's say, for argument's sake, reasonably equivalent spec Kia e-Soul, but without any access to a supercharging network and without the ability to charge at the speed of superchargers, and without autopilot. A Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus at that price has autopilot in it, with much more than just lane keeping assist and lane following and adaptive cruise control. And of course, to spec out the Kia e-Soul to how I would like it is taking up to 400,000, which is more than 25,000 crowns above the price of a standard range Tesla Model 3. Now, I like the fact that there's variety. I think there should be variety to match different use cases, different people's preferences, and so on. I don't want to kind of force one brand on anybody. I have no car at the moment, so I have no vested interests in promoting any particular brand right now, or ever. How nice would the Kia e-Soul have to be to kind of trump a Tesla Model 3? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. So that's enough for now about how much these cars cost. I really want to get in and see how much a Tesla Model 3 standard range is, not the Standard Range Plus. I want to go and talk to the Tesla showroom here, people about that in August, and I want to try and get inside a new Kia e-Soul. I'd like to know what it's like. I'd like to know how it drives and the realistic real-world range. I still think it's an interesting car. Might not be a feasible proposition, might be overpriced. I think a lot of these kind of next wave now of electric cars with the kind of 50, 60 kilowatt hour batteries in are overpriced. There hasn't been a price drop as the battery capacities have been increased. As far as I can see, certainly any price savings through battery technology developments have not been passed on to consumers here, because the prices are just going up and up and up and up and up. It's pricing a lot of people out of the market, and it's becoming even more luxury and niche a thing to have a longer range electric car. It's just never changed that it was a luxury niche thing to have a long range electric car. But moving on from that and linking back to my video from last week and my previous one before that about plans and what I'm going to do here about my transport options. Now I have the chance to rethink it all and, change things if I don't like them and explore new things. So I did get a bicycle just to give it a go. It's a basic bicycle. It's got 7 gears. It's fairly heavy. It's fairly standard. Yeah, and I got it from this place called Swap Feets, which is a rental place where you can rent on a monthly rolling basis, on just a sort of 1 month contract, a bike to give it a go. You know, its maintenance is included, and they can come out and fix anything from a puncture to failures with a chain or anything else to do with the bike, and they can just give you a new one and you just off on your way again, hence the kind of swap in the name. I believe it started off in the Netherlands and it's available in a certain number of European countries. This is another interesting thing about being in a new place, being in Denmark, the ability to try out these new things. And apparently this is the first service of its kind in the world. A bicycle is now like a new technology to me. I know it's so basic that people might take it for granted, but everything about it I needed explained to me, or I wanted explained to me to make sure I'd understood it. I hadn't ridden a bike in over 20 years, and I wanted to know that it worked right, that I could operate the lock and so on. That might sound silly, I realise that, but I wanted to do it nevertheless. And I'm certainly not the only one giving these bikes a go. They're known by their distinctive kind of blue front tyre, so you see them everywhere among normal kind of bicycles. So the ones with the blue tyre are the rental ones. And they have this kind of double lock thing as well. So there's like a kind of caliper that locks the rear wheel so that the spokes can't pass through it, and it sort of locks there, and then you can lock it to an object as well. You'll see most of these bikes are not locked up with the chain, they're just locked at the rear wheel, they're not locked to an object. Seems to be quite common to do that here in Denmark and certainly in Aarhus. I'd prepared for this very well by just buying a helmet. That was my kind of the scope of my preparation for this. Perhaps I should have exercised a bit too, although I have been walking a lot. I've realised later that in the Netherlands you can get an electrically assisted version of the bike called a Power 7. I don't think that's available in Aarhus. I am going to check. It was quite a sunny day where I went and picked up this bike, and I was wearing a fleece anyway, which I shouldn't have been, and you can see that I've taken it off just to walk. It was too hot to walk in a fleece, and then I went cycling up one of the biggest and longest hills in Aarhus with the fleece on. So yeah, just to explain. In first gear, just starting off, and bear in mind, I haven't ridden a bike in 20 years, yeah? And I know you never forget, but still, and oh god, note the fleece. I wobbled a lot to begin with, and this is luckily a dedicated kind of cycle road. Again, I think one of the only ones in Denmark there's a whole road is just for cycles, or meant to be. I have seen cars on it. So here I am, I'm kind of giving it a go, coming up to the first kind of traffic lights and so on, and then trying to tackle this hill. So this hill is about, I think, 2 kilometers, something like that, and it nearly killed me, and it was a terrible first experience after not having cycled for 20 years. A really silly thing to do, but essential because the shop was there, and I don't live by the shop. So yeah, I'll put some of the panting in, and then I'll spare you that for the rest of this video. I'm back. I feel like I can taste blood, but I made it. Various places with steps around Aarhus, there's these kind of concrete slopes with the steps. And of course, riding a bike for the first time, I thought that they were for pushchairs, and I guess they would work for pushchairs. They certainly make it easier to get bikes up and down. Terrible hill as a first attempt, and terrible choice of clothing, but you can see the weather's a bit ambiguous actually. I wasn't sure. The weather changes very fast here, just like the north of England, just like Scotland, so I'm never quite sure what to wear. The clothing is an interesting point in that it makes it clear that it's a different technology kind of approach, a different technology system to be cycling than driving around in a car. In a car you don't have to worry about what clothing you're wearing, generally. Even if it's raining, you just dash in and out of the car. With cycling, it's quite important to give some thought to your clothing. And you certainly don't wear a weird fish fleece to cycle up a hill for the first time you've cycled in 20 years. That's kind of my main point in a nutshell here. I'm not in great shape. I've been sat in cars for at least the last sort of 10 years or so. Electric cars for the last 5 years of that. So I'm not claiming to be super fit. And this is just what it's like when someone who normally drives an electric car, and is a bit out of shape, tries to give cycling a go. I'm recording now my first impressions of it just literally after it's just happened, and I've cooled down enough to be able to, recovered enough to be able to talk. That was difficult. That was quite challenging. Not the best first cycling experience. I was as wobbly as anything starting off. Didn't fall over, didn't endanger anyone else, but felt very, very wobbly. Once it was in second or third gear, for the few flat stretches that there were where I could try that, it felt much more stable and much more pleasant. But for going up the hills, that made me realise not much has changed fundamentally in bicycle technology or the laws of physics in the last 20 years. You know, if a bike is heavy, and if a gradient, and I'm heavy, and a gradient's fairly steep, that takes quite a lot of work. I feel quite good now that I've sort of recovered and cooled down from it. But I think, for any kind of serious commuting, any kind of hauling of cargo or going to see furniture shops to try and get stuff for the new place we're renting, on that thing, nope, that's not going to happen now. so thanks for watching there. Do let me know in the comments what you think about the pricing between the Kia e-Soul and the Tesla Model 3. Which would you go for? Is there any scenario that you could justify getting the Kia? I'd be interested to know. Please subscribe if you'd like to see more videos from me. There'll be more coming as I'm trying to work out my transport options still here. There's so much going on at the moment that I'll have to take it week by week, day by day. Hopefully some test drives coming up soon. And yeah, we'll sort of play out with some video of how people treat weeds here in Denmark. So it might surprise you, and it involves a flamethrower, just as a spoiler. Okay, so bye for now.